Hello, esteemed gentlemen. The deadliest secrets aren't whispered in dark rooms. They're carried by silent men who smile in plain sight. You think the quiet ones have nothing to say? Think again, because Sigma males, those elusive, fiercely independent minds, don't speak to be understood. They speak only when the outcome requires their voice. And when they don't speak, that's when the real story starts. Here's a psychological fact most people overlook. The average person lies in 1 out of 5 conversations. Now, imagine the kind of man who doesn't speak often enough to give you the opportunity to lie to him or even read him back. That's the Sigma male. He watches, he calculates, he disappears mid-sentence. Not because he forgot what to say, but because he realized it was no longer worth saying. And here's the part that makes people nervous. They'll never tell you what they're really thinking. Not because they can't, but because some truths would collapse your illusion of control, and they know it. In this video, we're pulling back the veil, not to expose them, good luck with that, but to reveal the 20 brutal, brilliant, and bone-deep truths Sigma males will never say out loud, even if you waterboarded them with small talk. Get ready. Some of these truths are raw, some are hilarious, some might make you rethink that strong, silent type you underestimated. And by the end, you might realize they've been watching you the entire time, quietly deciding if you're worth the sound of their voice. Let's begin. Number 1. I could be everything you want, but I won't be. That single line sums up one of the most unnerving truths about Sigma males. They have the emotional intelligence, the observational sharpness, and the self-control to become the exact person someone dreams of. They can read your needs, decode your insecurities, mimic your rhythm, and feed your ego without you even realizing it. If they wanted to, they could make you feel seen, loved, validated, and desired in a way that makes everything else pale in comparison. They're capable of it, and that's what makes their restraint so powerful. They know they could fit your fantasy like a glove, but they don't. Why? Because pretending to be someone else, even if it wins them admiration, feels like a betrayal of their own alignment. Sigma males don't perform for connection. They don't twist themselves to be liked. And they sure as hell don't buy into the modern pressure of shapeshifting to match someone's emotional cravings. That's slavery wrapped in approval. What makes this truth so disturbing to others is how calm they are about it. Most people would kill to be adored or accepted. Sigma males? They're willing to lose people, opportunities, and admiration just to stay true to their own core. And when someone tries to pull them into a role, be more this, show more that, they withdraw like a tide that never announces when it's leaving. Some think they're emotionally unavailable. That's wrong. They're emotionally unwilling. They could play the role, but they won't. Because they've learned that being liked for a version of themselves they fabricated feels emptier than being alone in their truth. And here's the twist. The more you try to pull them closer with expectations, the more distant they become. Not out of cruelty, but because the second they feel your affection is dependent on performance, the game is over for them. They don't want to be everything you want. They want to be exactly who they are. And if that's not enough, they'll vanish so smoothly you'll think it was your fault. But it wasn't. They just refused to fake it. And they always will. Number 2. I study people like equations, and when I solve you, I lose interest. This isn't coldness, it's mental hunger. Sigma males are wired for patterns, not performances. When they meet someone, they're not just listening, they're decoding. Every word, gesture, reaction, and hesitation is input. They're piecing together the algorithm behind who you are. Not to manipulate you, but to understand you. And here's the twist. Most people are simpler than they appear. Once the Sigma male has seen your default responses, how you handle pressure, what wounds you hide behind your jokes, and how you seek validation, the mystery dies, and with it, their emotional engagement. It's not personal. It's neurological. They thrive on the unknown, the unpredictable, the layered. Once you become a solved puzzle, they quietly detach, not because you're unworthy, but because there's nothing left to explore. It's not that they're heartless. In fact, they can be deeply fascinated in the beginning. They may even invest heavily in the process of figuring someone out. But once they can predict how you'll react before you even speak, it feels like rewatching a movie where they already know the ending. No tension, no surprise, no thrill. This is why Sigma males are often accused of losing interest out of nowhere. It's never out of nowhere. They just finished the equation. You became predictable. And for them, emotional predictability is the death of intimacy. They don't need you to be perfect. They need you to have depth, contradictions, layers, something that keeps evolving, shifting, challenging their assumptions. When someone continues to reveal new dimensions over time, that's when a Sigma male stays. But the moment they realize you're just repeating patterns you don't even know you have, their fascination fades silently. No drama, no breakup speech, just a mental checkout. They won't always leave physically, but once your code is cracked, their spirit exits first, and you'll feel it in the silence between their words. Because for a Sigma, the mystery isn't just attractive, it's necessary for connection. Without it, they're already gone. Number 3, I let people think they're winning until it no longer serves me. This is one of the quietest power plays Sigma males deploy, and most people never see it coming. While others waste energy trying to be seen, heard, praised, or feared, Sigma males step back. They observe. They let louder personalities take center stage, letting them mistake silence for submission. It's not weakness, it's calculation. Sigma males don't chase the crown because they know something most people don't. Control isn't about who's loudest, it's about who lasts longest without being exposed. So when the cocky boss flexes, when the charming manipulator plays mind games, when the loudmouth tries to dominate the room, the Sigma male simply nods, agrees, smiles faintly, and keeps collecting data. Because here's the real move. Sigma males know that the arrogant usually overplay their hand. And when they do, the Sigma is already 10 steps ahead, quietly setting the board so that the fall is clean, public, and irreversible. They don't compete loudly because competition itself is boring to them. It's predictable. Everyone's trying to win attention. Sigma males are trying to win freedom. They're not interested in winning as defined by others. They're interested in timing their moves so well that when they shift position, everything rearranges around them without them having to announce it. And by the time the loud ones realize the Sigma wasn't actually in second place, the game has already flipped. Influence changes hands. Respect changes temperature. The same people who once overlooked him now recalibrate themselves in his direction. Not because he demanded it, but because he earned it without needing applause. It's brutal, quiet, and unnerving. He lets you think you've won. He lets you brag. He lets you feel superior. But once it no longer serves him, he moves, and your sense of control evaporates with his silence. Because for a Sigma male, there's no joy in proving others wrong, only in letting them trap themselves in the illusion that they were ever right. Number 4, I feel everything, but I show nothing. This is the silent truth that makes Sigma males so hard to read. On the surface, they seem calm, unshaken, maybe even emotionally distant. But beneath that stillness is a full-blown storm. Anxiety, empathy, anger, sorrow, love, all running at full volume. The difference is they don't broadcast it, they process it. Sigma males are not numb. They're not cold. They're over-aware. They notice micro-expressions, tone shifts, energy changes in a room. They pick up on things others miss. But instead of reacting outwardly, they file it away. They reflect. They calculate. They protect their emotional world like a vault, because they've learned the hard way that showing feelings is often an invitation for others to use them. They've mastered emotional discipline, not because they don't want to connect, but because they don't trust easily. They've seen what happens when people misuse vulnerability. And so now, their silence becomes armor. You can be screaming at them, insulting them, praising them, flirting with them, and you still won't know what's actually hitting. Why? Because they've trained themselves not to react immediately, not to give away power. Every emotional signal they send is a choice, not a reflex. They can be hurting deeply and still make you feel calm in their presence. They can be furious and still speak softly. They can love you and still walk away without explanation. Because for them, the internal compass always comes before external expression. This makes people uncomfortable, because in a world where everyone is loud about how they feel, Sigma males are ghosts in plain sight. You never quite know what they're thinking. You never really know where you stand. And the more you push for a reaction, the more still they become. They don't fake emotions. They just don't perform them. And unless you've earned their trust, what you see on the outside will never match what's going on inside. So yes, they feel everything. They just don't give everyone the privilege of seeing it. Number 5. I don't want to belong. I want to bend environments to suit me. Sigma males don't walk into rooms hoping to blend in. They don't crave acceptance, validation, or group identity. That's not how they're built. The moment they enter a space, their mind is already scanning, not for approval, but for leverage. Who's really in charge? Who's pretending to be? Where are the unspoken rules? What's missing that they can quietly become? They don't try to adapt. They observe, decode, then adjust the frequency of the entire room without ever raising their voice. While others rush to be liked, Sigma males reshape the atmosphere just by being fully aligned with themselves. They're the kind of presence that shifts people's posture, makes the loud tone it down, and turns the spotlight without even asking for it. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. Sigma males know something most people never learn, that when you become too focused on fitting in, you give up the power to redefine what's acceptable. They don't follow the room's temperature. They become the thermostat. And they do it so subtly that people feel the change before they even realize who caused it. They don't conform to social groups, office politics, or cultural scripts. In fact, the more a system tries to absorb them, the more they resist. They don't belong, not because they're outcasts, but because they refuse to shrink themselves to match the room's expectation. If the environment can't match their integrity, they don't adapt. They either reshape it or they leave. This is why they often become accidental leaders. Not because they chase attention, but because they carry a gravity that reorganizes everyone around them. They don't need to be the loudest voice. They just need to be the most centered. And that centeredness quietly breaks the rules of the room without even speaking a word. So no, they don't want to belong. They want the space to bend even slightly to accommodate their raw presence. And when it doesn't, they simply move on. Because they'd rather stand alone in truth than be surrounded in false belonging. Number 6. Most people bore me, but I've mastered the art of pretending otherwise. This is a confession Sigma males will never say out loud, but it runs deep. Most of the conversations people have, the recycled opinions, the forced small talk, the performative vulnerability, it's like mental static to them. Surface-level chatter doesn't stimulate their mind, it drains it. They don't want to hear what everyone thinks they should say. They want to hear something real, something raw, something that wasn't ripped from a meme or TED Talk. But they won't show their boredom. They won't roll their eyes or check out visibly. Instead, they'll nod, ask questions, give the illusion of interest. Not because they're fake, but because they're collecting data. They're watching how people perform, who's playing a role, who's regurgitating someone else's ideas. Who's trying too hard to be liked? Every word, every gesture, every laugh that comes a second too late, it all tells them something. They endure these shallow moments with the same patience a hunter shows while waiting in silence. It's not the conversation they care about. It's the exposure underneath it. People reveal more through their performances than they do through honesty, and Sigma males are experts at decoding those performances. What really captures their attention isn't polish, it's contradiction. Someone being bluntly insecure, someone asking a strange question, someone who isn't trying to impress. That's when the Sigma male leans in. That's when they come alive. But until that happens, they stay masked. They mirror interest. They keep the conversation alive just enough to let others keep talking, while mentally placing them into categories. Real, fake, dangerous, empty, useful, noise. It's not cruelty, it's survival. They've learned that most people wear social camouflage, and what's beneath it isn't always worth chasing. So they play along until the real ones reveal themselves. Because in a world addicted to shallow connection, pretending to care is just a tool. And Sigma males, they've sharpened it to an art, Number 7, I don't flirt. I analyze weak points through affection. When Sigma males turn on the charm, it's never accidental. They know exactly what they're doing. Every compliment, glance, or casual touch isn't thrown out just to be nice or romantic. It's a probe, a test, a tool. Because while others flirt to attract, Sigma males flirt to observe. They're not chasing your attention. They're dissecting your defenses. They study how people respond to affection. Do you melt at praise? Do you tense when complimented? Do you crave attention or resist it? Every reaction reveals a pressure point, a soft spot, a vulnerability they can map. And once it's mapped, they understand you in a way that feels intimate, but isn't. To most people, this feels like chemistry, like connection, like something deep is happening. But to the Sigma male, it's data. You think he's getting closer emotionally, but what he's really doing is calculating how you're wired, what you crave, what you fear, what you'd fall for, what you'd forgive. It's not manipulation in the sleazy pickup artist sense. It's reconnaissance. They're not trying to seduce everyone. They're trying to understand why people let certain guards down and who uses love as a mask. Sometimes, yes, the affection is real, but the delivery is always strategic. They don't overexpose themselves even when they make you feel seen. That's the twist. Sigma males aren't heartless. They're just not reckless with intimacy. They know affection is a currency, and they spend it to uncover truth, not to chase validation. So when they flirt, it's never mindless, it's measured, it's precise. And if they go quiet afterwards, it's because they already found what they were looking for. And it wasn't you, it was the code behind your behavior. To the untrained eye, it looks like chemistry. To the Sigma, it's just another scan completed. And they've already moved on to the next puzzle, while you're still wondering what that smile meant. Number 8, I trust my own darkness more than your light. Sigma males have learned, often the hard way, that people who present themselves as pure, kind, or morally perfect usually have the most to hide. They've seen the hypocrisy. They've been let down by the smiling faces, the ones who spoke of loyalty while plotting betrayal behind closed doors. Over time, they realized something that changed everything. Their own flaws, shadows, and inner chaos are more honest than someone else's polished image. They don't romanticize other people's light. That glow you show to the world, they know it could be a mask, a distraction, a performance designed to win admiration. And they've learned that trusting that image can cost more than it's worth. So instead of reaching for others to guide them, they turned inward, even if what they found was dark, messy, or unrefined. That's the difference. Sigma males aren't afraid of their own chaos. They've studied it, sat with it, grown through it. Their darkness doesn't scare them, it grounds them. Because unlike fake purity, their flaws don't lie to them. Their mistakes taught them lessons. Their regrets gave them perspective. Their inner conflict made them sharper, not weaker. So when someone comes along all light and love, trying to project positivity or moral superiority, the Sigma male doesn't get swept up in the glow, he questions it. Not out of bitterness, but out of experience. Because he's been fooled by charm before. He's believed in good people who turned out to be snakes in robes, and he won't make that mistake again. He doesn't need your light to guide him. He trusts the part of himself that faced the fire and came out more aware, more brutal, more real. Not because he's proud of his darkness, but because he knows it's honest. So if you want his trust, don't show him how perfect you are. Show him where you're cracked, where you've fallen, where you've hurt and healed. He can respect that. But if all you offer is a glow with no depth, he'll take the storm inside himself over your sunshine every time. Number 9. Your rules only apply if I acknowledge your reality. This is the unspoken code Sigma males live by. While most people are trying to follow the rules, challenge the rules, or break the rules, Sigma males operate on an entirely different level. They simply don't recognize the system as real in the first place. That's what makes them so difficult to control. They're not defiant, they're disengaged. Society tells you what success looks like, what a man should be, what you should wear, say, chase, or believe to be respected. But to the Sigma male, those instructions are just background noise. They don't see the system as sacred. It's just scaffolding built by people no smarter than them, usually designed to keep the masses predictable and easy to manage. And they're not buying in. When they go to school, they don't go to be educated. They go to collect tools. When they take a job, it's not to climb the ladder, it's to extract leverage. When they follow social rules, it's not from belief, it's strategy. Camouflage, a calculated appearance of compliance while their mind is already building a world outside the system. This is why people often label Sigma males as loners, rebels, or antisocial. But that's missing the point. They don't hate the game. They just never accepted that it was the game. They're not rebels. Rebels still define themselves in opposition to the system. Sigma males? They just don't see it as something worth resisting, because it has no authority over their internal compass. And when someone tries to impose their rules, corporate, religious, cultural, whatever, the Sigma's mind quietly responds, "I'll follow it if it benefits me." But don't confuse obedience with belief. They're polite, yes, but not submissive, cooperative sometimes, but never controlled. And the moment the rules stop serving their growth or freedom, they exit without a scene. No protests, no grand speeches, just silence and distance. Because the Sigma male doesn't escape the system. He ghosts it, not to fight it, but because he was never really in it to begin with. Number 10. I know when you're lying, even if I let you get away with it. Sigma males have an almost unnerving ability to detect deception. It's not magic, it's attention to detail. The way your story shifts slightly, the flicker in your expression, the delay in your answer, the over-explaining, the fake confidence. While most people are too busy waiting for their turn to speak, Sigma males are listening between your words. But here's the part that unsettles people. They don't always call you out. In fact, most of the time, they won't say a word. You'll think you got away with it. You'll think they bought the lie. You might even think they're naive. But what you don't realize is they've already shifted their view of you, permanently. They don't argue. They archive. The moment they catch the lie, you quietly move into a different category in their mind. Maybe you become a liability, maybe just noise. But one thing is certain. The trust is gone, and you'll never be told when it happened. They're not out for revenge, they're not even angry, they just adjust. You'll still see them around, they'll still smile, they might even still listen. But you're no longer close, just close enough to be observed, not trusted. The warmth is gone, the depth is gone. And if you're perceptive, you'll feel it. This is how Sigma males protect themselves without confrontation. They don't need to expose your lie to feel powerful. They don't need the last word. They already have what matters, clarity. And with that, they reorganize their relationship to you, silently and irreversibly. You'll never hear the door close, but one day you'll realize you're standing outside it, and it's been locked for a long time. Number 11. I simulate weakness to study power. Sigma males understand something most people never even think about. How someone behaves when they think they have the upper hand reveals their true nature. So sometimes they'll play the part of the inexperienced one, the passive one, the nice guy. They'll ask questions they already know the answers to. They'll act confused or emotionally exposed, not because they're weak, but because they're setting bait. When people believe they're smarter, stronger, or in control, they start to drop the mask. The arrogance slips out. The manipulation surfaces. The tone changes. And that's exactly what the Sigma male is looking for. While the other person thinks they're leading the dance, the Sigma is silently mapping their ego, their pressure points, their insecurities. It's a psychological mirror, and most people reveal more than they should. They're not doing this to trick you. They're doing it to observe what kind of person you become when you think you're in control. Because anyone can be kind when they're equal, but when they believe someone else is beneath them, that's when the real character shows up. And the Sigma male watches it unfold with brutal precision. They let others talk down to them, offer unsolicited advice, show off, flex. It's not a loss, it's a test. A silent scan of how you use power when it's handed to you. This is why Sigma males often get underestimated early on. People mistake their quiet or unsure demeanor as genuine vulnerability. But by the time they realize it was all a setup, it's too late. The Sigma already knows who you are, how you operate, and whether you're worth dealing with at all. Because for Sigma males, real intelligence isn't in showing strength. It's in understanding how others respond to the illusion of power. And the best way to see it? Pretend to be weak, let them feel strong, and just watch. Number 12. I've imagined scenarios where I burn my entire life down and start again. To most people, this sounds reckless, self-destructive, even unstable. But for Sigma males, it's not chaos, it's clarity. It's the understanding that nothing in their life is too sacred to leave behind if it stops aligning with who they are becoming. Jobs, relationships, cities, reputations, all of it is optional if it starts to feel like a cage. They don't cling, they assess. And if something they built no longer serves its purpose, they'll watch it crumble without flinching. Not because they enjoy destruction, but because they're more loyal to growth than to comfort. While most people spend their lives holding tightly to what they've built, even when it's killing them, Sigma males are already thinking 10 steps ahead, asking, what would I become if I let all of this go? This is why they can be so unpredictable. One moment, they're invested, focused, present. The next, they've pulled the plug on everything, not out of emotion, but because the vision shifted, and they refuse to stay in a life that no longer matches the internal evolution they've undergone. Comfort doesn't hypnotize them. In fact, it unsettles them. The minute things start to feel too stable, too routine, too easy, they start to wonder what they're sacrificing for that false peace. They don't fear starting over. They fear staying stuck in a version of themselves that was built for survival instead of expansion. That's why Sigma males often reinvent themselves in ways that shock others. They'll walk away from careers people envy, leave relationships that look perfect from the outside, abandon plans that once defined them. Because the old path, no matter how polished, means nothing if it no longer challenges their soul. And here's what's truly rare. They don't need a crisis to transform. They don't need to hit rock bottom. They choose to reset before stagnation becomes rot. They torch the dead weight before it becomes invisible chains. So when they say they've imagined burning it all down, believe them. It's not a fantasy, it's a strategy. And they're willing to lose everything to find something real again. There's a reason Sigma males remain misunderstood, misread, and underestimated. They've mastered the art of being unfathomable. They don't parade their truths. They don't correct your assumptions. They let the world write shallow stories about them while quietly living from a depth most people will never touch. What you've just seen aren't quirks. They're codes, patterns hidden beneath stillness, power disguised as passivity. These truths, the ones they'll never say out loud, are the exact reasons they can walk through chaos untouched, detach without drama, and evolve without warning. They're not here to belong, impress, or follow. They're here to observe, outgrow, and rebuild again and again. Where others chase attention, they chase clarity. Where others demand love, they protect peace. Where others fear the unknown, they become it. So if a Sigma male ever lets you close enough to catch a glimpse of the storm beneath his silence, understand it's not weakness, it's restraint, it's awareness. It's power held back on purpose, and when that power moves, it doesn't ask permission. If this video hit different, don't just disappear into the shadows like a Sigma. Show some power. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss the kind of content that cuts deeper than surface-level noise. Like this video if you felt even one truth hit you harder than expected. Comment below. Whether you're a Sigma yourself or someone who's crossed paths with one, your story matters here. Share this with someone who thinks being quiet means being weak. They need the wake-up call. This isn't just another channel. It's a movement of minds that don't follow trends. They study them, question them, and if necessary, burn them to the ground. Welcome to the Sigma frequency. Now make some noise, in your own silent way.